lights still glow on everything I used to know.
The ice was thin along the bend. The
saw the cold on either side. You stepped away, the train pulled out and left me standing here and out. The floor was paved, the air was tight and carried off the last cold wind. Snow in the station, wide and deep. It holds the vows we couldn't keep. I watched your breath turn into haze and counted back the better days. Snow in the station, still and true. It keeps the world I lost with you. Some stations guard the winter stay. They keep the frost, they keep the gray. I'll wait inside when storms have grown and hear the names I've always known. Snow in the station, the frost remains through all the love, through all the pains. The street was dark, the air was winter balcony. The snow still glows where all our quiet story goes. The wind was fierce along the road. The lamps were dim in heavy snow. You pulled your scarf across your face and left no trace in that white space. The drifts were high, the sound was gone, but still I knew you'd walk alone. Blizzard street beneath our feet, it swallowed every heartbeat. I called your name into the white, but it was lost before the night. Blizzard street, cold and white, it keeps the day our love had died. The shop fronts closed, the glass was frost. The winter claimed what we had lost. You turned the corner, disappeared, and left me with the thing I feared. The snow kept falling without end and buried what we couldn't bear. Blizzard street beneath our feet,
Some harbors call once and last. They guard the first, they guard the past. I'll stand here when tides are gone and watch the fog keep moving on. Harbour fog, the sea still hums of nights that never come.
Tracks were black beneath the frost. The night was still, the world was lost. You stood where shadows crossed the ties and left the truth inside your eyes. The air was sharp, the stars were near, but all I felt was leaving here. Rain
color from the night. The steps were marked, the path was clear, but not enough to bring you near. Northwind Square in frozen air keeps the love we couldn't bear. I felt the cold run through my hands like all the snow was black along the curb. The air was wet, the day was blurred. You stepped through puddles, laughed at rain, and didn't mind the winter stain. The lamps were pale, the roof stripped slow, and all the streets began to show. Melting streets with silver streams, they washed away our frozen dreams. I felt your hand, I heard your song, I knew the cold had stayed too long. Melting streets, soft and wide, they carry what we left inside. Pigeons rose, the clouds passed by. You stopped to watch the sunlight grow, and left the snow to find its flow. The steps were wet, the day was clear, and all I needed stood right here. Melting streets with silver streams, they washed away our frozen dreams. I felt your hand, I heard your song, I knew the cold had stayed too long. Melting streets, soft and wide, they carry what we left inside. Some streets return the season's breath, they trade the frost for gentle depth. I'll walk them still when years are late, and see the thought we chose to wait. Melting streets, the shine remains through all the love, through all the pains. Melting streets, the shine remains through all the love, through all the pains.
The ground was dark, the blooms were white. They leaned into the newborn light. You touched the stem with careful hand, like something only you could stand. The air was fresh, the breeze was mild, and every glance was warm and wild. Snowdrops by the fence in spring, they hold the start of everything. I saw your smile, I felt the air, and knew the warmth was always there. Snowdrops by the fence, pure and true, they bloom for me because of I'll see them still when years have passed and know our start was meant to last. Snowdrops by the fence, the light still stays through all the cold and brighter days. The roof still held their crystal as the sun had crossed the winter's ledge. You stood beneath the dripping light and said the day would still be mine. The air was soft, the sky was pale, and all our warmth began to sail. Ice on the eaves, slow to fall. It kept the love that held us all. I touched your cheek, you touched my eyes, and let the winter say goodbyes. Ice on the eaves, sharp and true. It melts away, but leaves the you. The path was clear, the snow was thin, the city let the thaw begin. You laughed at drops along your sleeve and asked me once if I'd still leave. The drip was slow, the sound was kind, and kept our memory close behind. Ice on the eaves, slow to fall. It kept the love that held us all. I touched your cheek, you touched my eyes, and let the winter say goodbyes. Ice on the eaves, sharp and true. It melts away, but leaves the you. Some nights we'll wait to see the sun. It holds until the melt's begun. I'll stand below when years are laid and feel the fall that chose our fate. Ice on the eaves, the shine remains through all the joy and all the pains. April wind, light and
scene. April wind, light and true, carries all my thoughts to you. I felt your hand, I spoke your name, and knew the world would not be same. April wind, soft and wide, keeps the dream we couldn't hide. Some winds arrive to change the year, sweep the cold and bring you near. I'll feel them still when nights are late, and hear the call we chose to wait. April wind, the song still stays through all our light and tender days.
Trees were white along the lane. The petals fell like gentle rain. You held your coat but walked with ease, as if the world was built of these. The ground was soft, the day was long, and every step became a song. Street of blossoms, calm and white, it kept the joy we couldn't hide. I touched your sleeve, you touched my hair, and all the world was only there. Street of blossoms, pure and true, it blooms each year because of you. The light was gold, the air was warm, the spring was in its perfect form. You turned to speak, I turned to stay, and let the moment lead the way. The petals swirled, the lane was still, and held the time we'd never fill. Street of blossoms, calm and white, it kept the joy we couldn't hide. I touched your sleeve, you touched my hair, and all the world was only there. Street of blossoms, pure and true, it blooms each year because of you. Some streets are built for one soft hour. They hold the scent, they hold the flower. I'll walk them still when springs have grown, and see the light I've always known. Street of blossoms, the glow remains through all our love, through all our pain. Ooh, ooh.
must return.